happy about this or not so happy. And then he talks about planning. But like you said, there's a disconnect between the hand and the mind because Frank Gehry was not doing anything advanced as a craftsman except for being willing to put fee into some group of craftsmen testing out different metal alloys. He didn't know any of that chemical composition. He didn't understand the mechanism or anything. He just knew he wanted a shiny thing, and he knew he wanted the shiny thing to be stamped and to bend over things. So it's like he's supplying the parameters, but he's not the craftsman. And then the urban planner, instead of like Corbusier scraping the ground free of all history to create this brand new vision, that's not crafting. That's a theoretic. It's a way of practicing. It's like an ethic or like a philosophy. It's not anything corporeal. It's not connected to the body at all. So I think what he's saying though is that, and the fact that he's not talking about a bunch of architects is because architects no longer are craftsmen at all. I think that there's a huge disconnect between, I think that's why all of us are interested in actually, is because architects used to be in all cultures, in Italy and Japan or whatever, they used to be the master craftsmen actually. They used to be the master builders, and then during the Renaissance and in the East, I'm not sure what the time shift that split us apart, and then we became kind of a coordinator or someone that still draws, but someone that has to coordinate so many other people doing their thing. So I'm interested in how the book can kind of, at least in this year's themes, kind of pull back and say, how can architects become craftsmen again? Or if not by our hands, because we don't have the time or the fee to go out and start making details, you know, how can we integrate that process better, or do we need to? Is it lost? Is craftsmanship now about how we craft software to kind of craft our rational building exercises better, like Revit, or, you know, I think he's saying that by the fact that he omitted like a chapter on architects, it's like architects are like not considered craftsmen anymore.
He doesn't omit a chapter. He actually, you know, by the end of the book, he's talking about architecture and urban design a lot. I mean,
but he's not talking about like.
So it's not omitted.
This great architect who had a workshop who was a craftsman. Gehry kind of says, but he doesn't say Gary's a craftsman. He says that the metal workers were the craftsmen for being able to come up with it. So I'm interested in how we run that circuit from being parallel to builders to somehow splitting off, and now somehow coming back to it. You know, you see a lot of that in architectural education now. Everybody wants to do design build. Everyone wants to kind of experiment with materials. Everyone wants to fabricate stuff. And there's a huge interest in that right now. So I think people are actually reacting against the fact that we've been pulled back to just drawing. So I'm really curious how that kind of hit people.
It's so much a matter of finding the answers at the end of the book. Like, if you go back to read the introduction again, he really calls out plainly like what a craftsman is. You know, a craftsman has a complete understanding of what they're doing. You know, he makes a lot of, tells stories about Hannah Arendt and these fears of the, you know, atomic weapons and developing in the new technological age that, you know, we're entering, and that the people, the guy who made the atomic bomb he had no idea how it was going to be used, or it was not up to him, you know, and so that then it's just what you're doing, what you're making becomes divorced from how it's used or its action, you know, and I think that's where the architect, you know, not understanding this CAD drawing, you know, because it's wholly divorced from, you know, the reality of the building, you know, and so it's not so much a matter of being a master carpenter or mason. I think it's understanding the things that you're making and giving them action and direction, you know.
That's kind of the lesson that you would take away from the book.
Yeah. You know, when he talks about, you know, one of the other ideas that really stuck out for me was this idea of resistance in materials that seems pretty potent, that that's where craftsmanship lies, is in the, you know, kind of the direction of materials. Like he talks about carpenters anticipating the grain of wood, you know, that has a direction. In order to change direction of wood, that's where the master carpenter comes in. cuts beautiful, whatever, dovetails, you know, because they know how to change direction.
Maybe the craftsmanship of architecture is the creation of spaces. So, you know, you have a box, but it's what it's inside that people experience. It's not